What if I told you that 40% of everything you do every day isn't actually a decision? It's a habit running on autopilot. And what if I told you there's a scientific formula to hack these habits and completely redesign your life? Today, we're breaking down The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, the book that reveals why we do what we do and how to change it forever. Ready to unlock the code? Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg, a groundbreaking book that spent over 3 years on the New York Times bestseller list and fundamentally changed how we understand human behavior. Charles Duhigg is an investigative reporter for the New York Times who spent years researching the science of habits. What makes this book extraordinary is that it's not just theory, it's backed by neuroscience, filled with real-world case studies and proven by companies like Starbucks, Target, and the NFL. This book answers the questions that actually matter. Why do I keep doing things I know are bad for me? Why is change so incredibly hard? How do successful people and organizations make transformation look effortless? And most importantly, how can I rewire my brain starting today? By the end of this video, you'll understand a habit loop that controls your life, the golden rule of habit change, and the exact framework used by Olympic athletes and Fortune 500 companies to achieve remarkable results. Duhigg opens with profound insight. Habits aren't destiny. You can change them if you understand how they work. The neurological pattern. Every habit follows a 3-step loop discovered by researchers at MIT. 1. The cue, a trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. 2. The routine, the behavior itself, which can be physical, mental, or emotional. 3. The reward, something your brain likes that helps it remember this pattern for the future. Here's what's crucial. This loop becomes automatic. The cue and reward become neurologically intertwined until a powerful sense of anticipation and craving emerges. This is how habits form. The famous case study, Eugene. Duhigg introduces us to Eugene, a man who lost his memory due to viral encephalitis. Eugene couldn't remember anything for more than a minute. Scientists thought his life was over. But something remarkable happened. Eugene could still walk around his neighborhood without getting lost. He could still make breakfast. He had habits, even without memory. Brain scans revealed that habits are stored in the basal ganglia, a primitive part of the brain that can function even when the rest of the brain is damaged. This is why habits are so powerful and so hard to break. They're literally carved into our neurology. Why this matters. Your brain is constantly trying to save effort. It wants to convert as many actions as possible into habits, because habits allow you to stop thinking constantly about basic behaviors. This is wonderful when it creates good habits, brushing teeth, exercising, being productive. But it's problematic when it creates bad habits, smoking, overeating, procrastinating. The good news? Once you understand the loop, you can change it. The craving brain. Duhigg introduces a crucial concept. Habits are driven by cravings. It's not the reward itself that creates the habit. It's the anticipation of the reward. Consider Starbucks. People don't just want coffee. They crave the entire ritual, the familiar environment, the customized order, the moment of indulgence. Starbucks engineered every aspect of their stores to create and satisfy these cravings. Or consider exercise. Studies show that people who successfully build exercise habits aren't motivated by abstract future benefits. They crave the immediate reward, the endorphin rush, the sense of accomplishment, the feeling of having earned their shower. Understanding what you're truly craving is the key to changing habits. Here's the breakthrough insight that changed everything. You can't eliminate bad habits. You can only change them. The golden rule. To change a habit, you must keep the same cue, provide the same reward, but change the routine. This is revolutionary because most people try to eliminate habits entirely, which almost never works. Instead, you need to understand what cue is triggering the habit and what reward you're really seeking. Then find a new routine that delivers the same reward. Case study Alcoholics Anonymous. Duhigg examines why AA works when so many other addiction treatments fail. AA doesn't try to eliminate the habit loop. Instead, cue remains. Stress, anxiety, social pressure, whatever triggers the urge to drink, routine changes. Instead of drinking, attend meeting, call sponsor. Help another alcoholic, reward remains. Relief, social connection, sense of control. AA also adds something crucial. Belief. Participants must believe change is possible. This belief often comes from the group. Seeing others succeed makes you believe you can too. The chunking phenomenon. Duhigg explains how the brain chunks sequences of actions into automatic routines. This is how you can drive home on autopilot while thinking about something completely different. Elite performers, athletes, musicians, surgeons have chunked complex sequences of actions into habits. A basketball player doesn't think about each movement of a free throw. A pianist doesn't consciously think about each finger movement. They've practiced so much it's become automatic. You can use this same principle to automate productive behaviors. Rehook, 11:15 to 11:30. So you understand how habits work and the golden rule of changing them. But here's where it gets really practical. Duhigg reveals the exact framework for identifying and transforming any habit in your life. This framework has been tested by millions. Let's break it down step by step. Duhigg provides a systematic method for habit change based on years of research. Step 1. Identify the routine. This is usually obvious. The routine is the behavior you want to change. Smoking, snacking, procrastinating, nail biting, etc. Step 2. Experiment with rewards. This is a detective work. You need to figure out what reward you're really craving. Let's say you have a habit of buying a cookie from the cafeteria every afternoon. The routine is clear. Walk to cafeteria, buy a cookie, eat at desk while chatting with colleagues. But what's the reward? Is it the cookie itself, hunger/taste, the break from work, mental relief, social interaction, connection with colleagues, energy boost, sugar/caffeine? To find out, Duhigg suggests experimentation. Try different rewards. Day 1. Instead of cookie, eat an apple. Day 2. Instead of cookie, take a walk. Day 3. Instead of cookie, go to cafeteria and chat, but don't buy anything. Day 4. Instead of cookie, have coffee at desk without going anywhere. After each experiment, set a timer for 15 minutes and notice. Do you still feel the urge? If the urge goes away, you've found what you were really craving. If not, keep experimenting. Step 3. Isolate the cue. Cues are tricky because there's so much going on around us. Research shows that most habit cues fit into 5 categories. Location. Where are you? Time. What time is it? Emotional state. How are you feeling? Other people. Who else is around? Immediately preceding action. What did you just do? To identify your cue, whenever you feel the urge, immediately write down the answers to these 5 questions. After a few days, the pattern will become obvious. In the cookie example, you might discover the cue is 3:30 p.m. time, at desk, location, feeling bored, emotional state, working alone, other people, after finishing a task, preceding action. Step 4. Have a plan. Once you know the cue and the reward, you can change the routine. If the cookie habit is actually about needing social interaction at 3:30 p.m. when you're bored after finishing tasks, your plan might be, at 3:30 p.m., I will go to a colleague's desk and chat for 10 minutes. Write down your plan as an implementation intention. When see, I will new routine to get reward. The key is having the plan ready before the cue hits. You can't rely on willpower in the moment. One of Duhigg's most powerful concepts. Not all habits are equal. Some habits matter more than others. What are Keystone Habits? Keystone Habits are routines that, when changed, trigger a chain reaction that transforms other areas of your life. Exercise is the classic Keystone Habit. Research shows that when people start exercising regularly, even just once a week, they unconsciously start eating better, becoming more productive at work, smoking less, showing more patience with colleagues and family, and using credit cards less. Why? Exercise creates what Duhigg calls small wins, early victories that build momentum and prove that achievement is possible. These small wins trigger a transformation in how people see themselves and what they believe they can accomplish. Case study: Alcoa Aluminum. Duhigg tells a remarkable story of Paul O'Neill becoming CEO of Alcoa in 1987. Instead of focusing on profits, efficiency, or any traditional business metric, O'Neill announced his top priority: worker safety. Everyone thought he was crazy, but O'Neill understood Keystone Habits. By focusing fanatically on safety, he forced the company to improve communication. Workers had to report accidents immediately, empower employees. Anyone could stop production if they saw a safety issue, streamline processes to make them safer, measure everything to track safety metrics. These changes created a culture of excellence that transformed every aspect of the business. Within a year, profits hit record levels. By the time O'Neill retired, annual net income had increased 5 times. Personal Keystone Habits. For individuals, common Keystone Habits include exercise triggers better eating, productivity, and mood, making your bed. Create sense of control and accomplishment, family dinners. Improves children's academic performance and emotional health, tracking spending. Leads to better financial decisions across the board, daily journaling. Increases self-awareness and goal achievement. The strategy: don't try to change everything. Identify one Keystone Habit and focus there. The rest will follow. Duhigg dedicates significant attention to willpower, calling it the most important Keystone Habit for individual success. Willpower is limited. Research by psychologist Roy Baumeister shows that willpower isn't just a skill, it's more like a muscle. It gets tired with use. In famous experiments, students who had to resist eating cookies, a task requiring willpower, later gave up faster on difficult puzzles. Students who didn't have to resist the cookies persisted longer. The first group had depleted their willpower reserves. This explains why you can resist temptation all day but cave at night. It's why you eat healthy at breakfast and junk at dinner. Your willpower muscle is exhausted. The Starbucks case study. Duhigg explains how Starbucks created a massive competitive advantage by training employees in willpower. Starbucks developed detailed habit plans for employees to use when willpower was likely to fail. When a customer is unreasonably angry, I will listen without interrupting, repeat the complaint back to show I understand, take ownership, and apologize, explain what I'll do to solve the problem, thank them for their patience. This isn't just good customer service. It's willpower training. By deciding in advance how to handle difficult situations, employees don't have to rely on depleted willpower in the moment. The response becomes automatic. Building willpower. The good news: willpower can be strengthened like a muscle. How? 1. Plan for inflection points. Identify when willpower is most likely to fail: 3 p.m. snack attack, evening couch time, and have specific plans ready. 2. Create routines. Turn behaviors requiring willpower into habits that don't require it. If you make exercise automatic, same time, same place every day, it stops requiring willpower. 3. Practice small acts of willpower. Studies show that even small willpower exercises, using your non-dominant hand for tasks, maintaining good posture, tracking spending, strengthen overall willpower. 4. Reduce decisions. Every decision depletes willpower. Successful people often wear the same clothes daily. Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or eat the same breakfast. Fewer decisions equals more willpower for what matters. Duhigg, 26:00-26:15. These individual habit strategies are powerful, but Duhigg reveals something even bigger: how habits shape not just individuals, but entire organizations and societies. The examples will shock you and show you how habits operate at a massive scale. Organizations have habits, too, routine ways of operating that emerge from thousands of independent decisions. The Rhode Island hospital case. Duhigg tells a disturbing story. A nurse at Rhode Island Hospital noticed a surgeon was about to operate on the wrong side of a patient's head. She tried to stop him, but the hospital culture said nurses don't question surgeons. The surgery proceeded. The patient died. This wasn't one person's mistake. It was an organizational habit. The hospital had developed routines where hierarchy trumped safety, where speaking up was punished, where procedures weren't followed. After this and other incidents, Rhode Island Hospital had to deliberately create new organizational habits, checklists that everyone followed regardless of rank, protocols that required verification, a culture where anyone could stop a procedure. Habits create truces. In organizations, habits often emerge as informal truces between competing interests. Different departments want different things. Marketing wants brand consistency. Sales wants flexibility for clients. Operations want efficiency. Rather than fight constantly, organizations develop habitual ways of doing things that everyone accepts. These truces work until crisis hits. Then, Duhigg argues, leaders have a brief window to change organizational habits. Case study, the London Underground fire. In 1987, a fire at King's Cross London Underground station killed 31 people. Investigation revealed that employees had seen fire hazards for months but stayed silent because "that's not my department" was an organizational habit. The disaster created an opportunity for change. Leaders completely restructured how the underground operated, breaking down departmental walls and creating new habits of communication and shared responsibility. The lesson: organizations change habits the same way individuals do. Crisis creates opportunity. Leaders identify the keystone habits that need changing. New routines are implemented. Belief in change spreads through small wins. Duhigg tackles a profound question. If habits are neurological patterns outside conscious control, are we responsible for our actions? The case of the gambling addict. Duhigg examines the story of Angie Bachman, who developed a gambling addiction. She argued in court that casinos deliberately designed their environments to exploit habit formation, essentially hacking her basal ganglia to create compulsive behavior. The court ruled, once you understand you have a habit, you become responsible for changing it. Ignorance is an excuse. Continued behavior after awareness is not. The sleepwalking murderer. In contrast, Duhigg discusses a man who killed someone while sleepwalking. Courts ruled differently here because he had no conscious awareness during the act and couldn't have anticipated or prevented it. The framework of responsibility. Duhigg proposes, we're responsible for habits we're aware of and have the knowledge to change. This means, 1. Awareness is step 1. You must identify and understand your habits before you can be fully responsible for them. 2. Knowledge brings responsibility. Once you know how habits work and how to change them, continued bad habits become a choice. 3. Effort is required. You must make genuine effort to change. Knowing about change is enough. You must act on that knowledge. This framework has profound implications for addiction, criminal justice, corporate responsibility, and personal accountability. Section 8. How movement happen. The habits of societies. 35:00-39:30. Duhigg explores how social movements spread through habit formation at a societal level. The Montgomery bus boycott. Why did Rosa Parks' arrest trigger a successful boycott when other similar incidents didn't? Duhigg argues it was habit-based social patterns. 1. Strong ties, close friendships. Rosa Parks was deeply embedded in Montgomery's black community. Church groups, social clubs, professional networks. When she was arrested, her friends felt personally obligated to act. 2. Weak ties. Acquaintances. Parks was also connected across community boundaries. People who didn't know her well still knew people who knew her. This created social pressure across the entire black community. 3. New habits of self-identity. The boycott created a new habit. Walking instead of riding buses became an act of identity. People weren't just avoiding buses. They were embodying a new self-image as active resistors of injustice. The movement succeeded because it followed a habit loop. Q. Need to get to work routine. Walk or carpool instead of taking bus. Reward. Sense of dignity, community solidarity, pride, and resistance. From peer pressure to social habit. Duhigg shows how behavior spread. Phase 1. A few people with strong connections start behavior. Phase 2. Weak social ties spread the behavior widely. Phase 3. The behavior becomes a new social norm habit. This explains everything from fitness trends to political movements to consumer behavior. One of the book's most famous chapters examines how companies use habit science to manipulate consumers. Target's pregnancy prediction model. Target discovered that purchasing habits are incredibly stable, except during major life transitions. New baby, new house, new job. These moments create openness to new habits. Target built a model that could predict, with shocking accuracy, which customers were pregnant based on purchases of unscented lotion, supplements, and other items. They could even estimate due dates. They sent pregnancy-related coupons to these women before they announced their pregnancies. One father complained to Target that they sent his teenage daughter baby coupons. Target's model had detected her pregnancy before she told her family. The creepiness problem. When customers received coupons that seemed to read their minds, they felt creeped out. So Target got clever. They mixed pregnancy products with random items, lawn mowers, wine glasses. So the manipulation looked like coincidence rather than surveillance. The ethics. Duhigg raises important questions. When does marketing become manipulation? Do companies have responsibility not to exploit habit science? Should there be limits on behavioral prediction? He doesn't provide easy answers, but argues consumers should understand they're being deliberately targeted with habit formation strategies. Duhigg concludes with practical integration of everything we've learned. Your personal habit audit. Take inventory of your current habits. 1. Morning routine. What do you do automatically after waking? Are these habits serving your goals? 2. Work habits. What are your default behaviors when procrastinating, when stressed, when given a new task? 3. Social habits. How do you typically respond in social situations? Are these responses helping or hurting your relationships? 4. Evening habits. What's your automatic wind-down routine? Is it setting you up for good sleep and next day success? The strategy. Don't try to change everything. Instead, week 1 to 2, observe and identify your habits. Write them down. Notice the cue routine reward pattern. Week 3 to 4, choose one keystone habit to change. Use the framework. Identify the cue, keep the cue, and reward change a routine have a specific plan. Week 5 to 8, let the new habit solidify before adding another change. Week 9 plus, add another habit change, building on your success. The small win strategy. Duhigg emphasizes, small wins are crucial. Each successful habit change proves to yourself that change is possible. This belief fuels further transformation. Don't start with exercise 90 minutes daily. Start with put on workout clothes after work. The action is less important than proving you can follow through. Why tracking matters. Research shows that people who track habits are far more likely to change them successfully. Why? 1. Awareness. Tracking makes automatic behaviors conscious. You can't change what you don't notice. 2. Pattern recognition. Tracking reveals when habits happen. Maybe you always snack when stressed or procrastinate after lunch. Patterns emerge. 3. Motivation. Seeing a streak of successful days creates motivation to maintain it. Psychologists call this the streak effect. 4. Data for experimentation. Tracking lets you test what works. If you try a new routine, tracking shows whether it's actually changing a habit. How to track. Keep it simple. Physical calendar with X for each successful day. Habit tracking app. Simple notebook with daily checkboxes. The method matters less than consistency. Track daily, review weekly. The power of habit reveals that habits aren't destiny. They're patterns that can be redesigned once you understand how they work. The core framework. Every habit has a cue routine reward loop. To change a habit, identify the cue experiment to find the true. Reward, keep the cue, and reward. Change the routine, have a plan ready before the cue hits. The key insights. Habits form when cues and reward become neurologically linked. You can't eliminate habits. Only change them. Keystone habits create chain reactions of positive change. Willpower is a muscle that can be strengthened. Organizations and societies have habits too. Awareness creates responsibility. The real power. Understanding habits give you power over your life. You're no longer a passive victim of your behaviors. You're an architect redesigning your automatic patterns. The question isn't whether you have habits. You do, running constantly in the background. The question is, are your habits serving the person you want to become? Here's the question I want to leave you with. What's one habit that, if you changed it, would trigger a cascade of positive transformations across your entire life? Your keystone habit? And here's the follow-up. What's stopping you from starting the change process today? Right now, you have the framework. You understand the science. You know it's possible. The only thing left is to begin. If the power of habit has shown you that change is possible and given you the tools to make it happen, I need you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We break down the books that don't just inform you, but transform you. giving you frameworks and systems that actually work in real life. Second, share this video with someone stuck in a bad habit, someone who's tried to change and failed, someone who needs to understand that failure wasn't because they're weak, it was because they didn't understand the science. This knowledge could change their life. Third, leave a comment answering this. What's the one habit you're committing to change using Duhigg's framework? Be specific. Identify the cue, the routine, and the reward. Let's build accountability together.